students, how are you doing today? Outstanding. I'm glad you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about morphemes. Morphemes. By now, if you can understand what I'm saying, you have already learned how to make conversation in English. And it's like learning how to drive a car. Do you know how to drive a car? You do? Very well. Now, the vehicle, the car that you drive, it has a lot of parts. Do you know the parts of the car you drive? You know the main parts, right? You know the hood, the trunk, the steering wheel, the windshield, the bumpers, the seats, the doors. Outstanding. How about the mechanical parts? Do you know all the parts of your car? Okay, so I want you to imagine English as mechanical parts. Oh, sorry. I want you to imagine English as an automobile. We already know how to drive. We know the main parts of the automobile. But we're gonna start to analyze the parts, starting from the smallest parts. And in English, there's something called morphemes. Morphemes. And what are morphemes? Morphemes are parts of words. They can't be divided into smaller parts. So they're the smallest language unit in the English language. They're the smallest unit that has meaning. And what are these units? They are word elements, prefixes, suffixes, and root words. Now, here are some examples. Word element. Word element, as when we make plurals, we add an S or an ES, or they indicate, for example, the past as an ED. These are just examples. Okay, like S and ED. For example, we have dog. Okay, so dogs has two parts. Dog and the word element S, which indicates that it's plural. Or in the word wanted, we have want and ed. That's two parts. So the word wanted has two parts. Now, here, a suffix. A suffix. I'm sorry. A prefix. A prefix. Here's an example. RE and PRE, which is pre. For example, in redirect. Re is one part. Direct is another part of the word. Preview. Pre is one part. View is another part. The suffixes. Here's just some examples. Un and ill. There are many prefixes. There are many suffixes. Okay? Un, like in unable. Un is one part. Able is another part. Ill is one part. Legal is another part. Now, I want you to note that word elements, prefixes, suffixes, they have a meaning. They have a meaning. So it is important to learn the main prefixes and the main suffixes. What do they mean? Because this will always give you part of a meaning of a word. And we also have root words. Okay? Root words. Now, sometimes when you combine root words, you create another word. And here's an example. The word down, that's one word. Town, that's another word. But when you put them together, down, town, now it means something different. Okay, so downtown. Now, root words can stand as words by themselves. So, down, you can put it in a sentence as a word by itself. Okay, you don't need to divide it into parts. Town can be used as a word by itself. Suffixes, prefixes, and word elements cannot stand by themselves. They cannot be used by themselves. Okay? So a word can be a morpheme. If it's a root word, it can be a morpheme. And you have to understand this. But morphemes are not necessarily words. Don't get confused. Okay? So again, let's wrap this up. Morphemes are the smallest unit that has meaning. They can't be divided into smaller parts. And they're usually word elements, prefixes, suffixes, and root words. Root words. Okay? So, now, some words may have 2 or 3 morphemes. They can have more than one morpheme. More than 2 morphemes. And some people call these grammatical units. Some people call these suffixes. The word elements. Don't worry about what they call it. Don't worry. Okay, here we're going to call them word elements. If somebody wants to call them a suffix, it's okay. So, like for example, S and ED, it's a word element. Outstanding. Now, I want you to understand these parts, that the morpheme is it's a part of a word, so it's a smaller unit than a word. And some words that are very small, they can be used as morphemes also. Okay, so learn this. In another class, we're going to study prefixes, suffixes, and this is just like an introduction. So I'll see you next class.